Every moment of every day, the universe or God or Great Spirit or divine energy, a mother, father, whatever you want to call it, the great googly moogly. It really doesn't matter what you call it. It's speaking to you through your feelings, right? And the question is, are you listening? Are you aware enough, awake enough to feel that call? My name is Dre Levac, and I'm filling in for Reverend Annie Levac, who is my ex-wife, not my sister, as I mentioned last time. And I do the audio-visual. I'm the occasional singer, part-time buffoon. And today, I will be your messenger. Don't shoot me now. Wait till after the talk. So, last week we had a look at self-trust, right? And we took it apart and looked at the pieces. And why do we do that? We do that so that we can better understand, we can examine it, we can have a better understanding. I mean, science is based in taking things apart to understand them. And we do that because when we better understand, then we're apt to use it more effectively in our lives. Then we looked at how to increase the amount of self-trust that we have. How many of you implemented any of what you learned last week? Okay, excellent. Even one strategy. You know what? Don't beat yourself up about it. It's really normal, right? I've done this for years. I've been a fan of personal growth, self-development. I've read dozens and dozens and dozens of books over 30 years, and I've done workshops and seminars, and one of those information gatherers, I think they call us self-help junkies. How much do you think that I implemented after I learned it in a course or book? I won't say zero, but I'll honestly admit, very little. It wasn't all that much. Progress has been slow, and over the years, though, through repetition and hearing the message over and over again, there has been progress. It's kind of like how we operate as human beings. I've come to be okay with it, and now I'm feeling the call. I'm feeling a stronger call. I just turned 49, and now I need to do something different. You know, I'm starting to see, it's like, okay, I'm going to do something. I'm not going to beat myself up about the past anymore. Why? Because it doesn't serve me. It doesn't do anything for my life. So, self-trust, that was last week. And this week, we're taking on a whole new elephant. Right? And the title of my talk, Trusting the Magical Universe. Whoa. Whoa. That's a big one. And what makes it so big is that not only are we still looking at trust, which is a challenging thing in and of itself, but we're applying it to an intangible and charged concept like God, right? Or the universe, however you want to word it. And I'm going to use God and the universe interchangeably because to me they're the same thing. Now, I'm not here to challenge your concept of God or the universe. All I ask is that for the next 25 minutes or so, be open. Listen to what I share, and after that, after you hear me out, believe what you want. Is that fair? Excellent. So, I'm going to take you on a little journey where I'm going to paint you a picture of my understanding of the universe, a framework, if you will. And my intention in sharing this framework with you is to hopefully expand your understanding of God and perhaps allow you to see the universe in a new light, a whole new light. Then this will give you access to an incredible amount of power that you may have not realized you fully realized that you had. Or have, should I say. It's not in the past tense. And then we'll take a look at the technology gifted to you by this wonderful universe and how you can begin to use it to have more influence in deliberately creating your life by design. And then we'll explore how to harness that power in small incremental steps. And finally, we'll take that leap towards trusting the magical universe and what that actually means, what that actually takes to do that. Is that enough for a Sunday morning? Full agenda. Brace yourself. I'd like to begin with a story. Once before a time, there was an unfathomable mass of energy. It was everything, and there was nothing else. It just was, and it didn't feel anything, and it didn't think anything. It wasn't happy or sad, good or bad, up or down or all around. Now I'm starting to sound like Dr. Seuss. There was no meaning. It was just pure potential energy, and we'll call it love. This mass of pure energy was light, and only light. Nothing else existed. There was no place, it was nowhere. And because it was everything, it was also no thing or nothing simultaneously. And it was so full of love, so full of pure awareness, that by first miracle, it exploded. And the first moment was born, the birth of time. And the explosion created, for the first time, a void, darkness, space. And it was the birthing of time and space, a reality unknown before then, was created. A duality, a universe of opposites that begins to expand at a tremendous but incredibly slow rate. It never experienced this slow rate of vibration before. All of a sudden, this consciousness, this intelligence, has an awareness of something different than it had known before. And all this time, it had no meaning. It has an experience or awareness of being more than just one thing for the first time. Now it's one thing, and then another, and then another, and yet another still. And it multiplies this way for an indefinite period of time, covering an unfathomable amount of space, incredibly slowly. Being pure energy, pure love, it has at its disposal the ability to create anything. And so it creates everything from itself. And because it now knows duality, it has the ability to destroy as well. And so it destroys parts of itself as part of the experience. And it still has no meaning. And it's meaningless that it has no meaning. All of the billions of galaxies of the universe were formed from this, and it's expanding still. Fast forward to several 100,000 years ago, this massive energy, we'll call God, has a thought to experience itself as a process we call evolution in a whole new way. It takes an unfathomably small piece of itself and hides it inside one of its creations in such a way as the creation is completely unaware of its connection to the vast and grand mass network of all that it is. Like a drop taken from the ocean, it creates an illusion that it is separate from everything else. And it does this because this grand intelligence is aware that this is the only way it will be able to experience all that it has created. It has to hide itself from itself. And in this way, it can experience this world of duality for all that it is. So God is here to experience it all. Do you realize that the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, none of this has any meaning? God doesn't have feelings, opinions, or beliefs. He, she, it doesn't have preferences or desires. No. God, being everything there is, everything ever created, everything that ever will be created, has no concept of what it's like to experience all this creation. So, what is the creation that the magical universe put a drop of itself into in order to experience all its creations? A high-powered biocomputer, of course. The most powerful one of its kind. The magical universe provided you with your very own biocomputer, complete with incredible data input features, like 2 high-powered caliber webcams, dual directional microphones, a twin-port olfactory sensor, a gustatory bay which doubles as a loudspeaker, and a full-length somatosensory system, also known as touch. And it also comes with a couple of input-output ports, which we won't get into today. This is the perfect unit for experiencing a perceived 3-dimensional existence, fully programmable and perfectly designed to keep the best-kept secret of its existence, that it is made up of awareness itself. So here we all sit, except I'm standing. Biocomputers of this one energy, one love, one existence, a network, if you will, collectively creating all that we experience through our senses in what we call our lives. This is why God created you. Because the magical universe could not have this experience of its creations without you. Do you realize how important you are to the magical universe? And that you're highly programmable, and you do that by bringing meaning to your experience. These are the very meanings that you create that ultimately become the programs that run your life. Programs are also known as beliefs. And it's the feelings you have generated by these beliefs that give God the experience that it has through you. And what the magical universe does now is supply you with unlimited amounts of energy to hold this existence or reality in place so that you can experience it as being real. You need to hear that again? What the magical universe does now, every moment, every instant of every day, is supply you with unlimited amounts of energy to hold this existence or reality in place so that you can experience it as being real. Give yourselves a round for what you've created. I'm serious. This is an amazing feat, a huge illusion of energy, and we're holding this in place, creating this as collectively as a reality. You're the way that God experiences the world of duality and all of its creations that exist within it. Have I said that enough times? The magical universe depends on you to experience life through you. And you thought it was the other way around. I'm hammering this point home because my desire for you is to get this. Because if you can grasp this concept even just a wee bit, your whole life will change. So, if this concept is true, and we really are God's essence riding around in these fully programmable biocomputers, Why is it that life isn't happy, easy, joyful all the time? Why didn't we program that in? Why do we struggle with all these various aspects of our lives? Why is life so bloody difficult at times? Remember that world of duality we talked about? Well, there's two sides to everything, right? Happy, sad, good, bad, up, down, light, dark. There's Dr. Seuss again. We love the good times and the happy times, the positive emotions, that side of life. And the tendency is to shy away from the negative emotions, the hard times, what we deem bad in our lives. Well, there's two sides of the coin, right? And what determines how we perceive these experiences are our beliefs about them. There we go. In other words, our programming. But how do you know a positive experience from a negative one? If what you experience all the time was only positive, how would you know that they're positive? You see, unless you had a contrast of a negative experience in order to know the difference between the two in a world of duality. The negative experience defines the positive ones. And they're what allow you to have that experience of a positive emotion in the first place. But to the magical universe, it doesn't matter which side of the coin it experiences through you, because the magical universe is the coin itself. And it lets you decide what experience you're going to live predominantly. It's part of the thrill of the experience. It's part of the ride. So far, so good? Have you ever been to an amusement park? Why do you go there? To experience the thrills and the chills, right? Ever go on a scary ride? Oh yeah, what a rush. Just over 3 years ago, Emily and I went to Disneyland for the first time. It was both our first time. And it was a dream come true for both of us. And at one point, we're looking at the rides to go on, and for some reason that I can't figure out, Emily says, I want to go on the Tower of Terror. She's 10 years old, right? And I was saying, Emily, are you sure? The ride is called Tower of Terror. Oh yeah, she was convinced. She was sure. She wanted to go on this. She even got mad at me because as we're on our way, right beside that ride was the Aladdin show, and it was just about to start. And I'm going like, it's not running all the time. Emily, we're going to this first. And she's like, oh, Miss Grumpsville. Now we both loved the Aladdin show. It was really, really cool. But as soon as it was over, it's like, okay, Tower of Terror, let's go, Dad. Come on. Are you sure? Yeah, okay. All right. Don't touch that, Dre. Okay, so here we are, waiting in line, and we're directed into this dingy, dark basement-looking thing, waiting to get into an elevator. I mean, the whole ride is based in the Twilight Zone, right? Now, the reality of the situation is starting to dawn on her. And she's 10 years old. She's going like, I'm not sure. She's jittery. And I'm comforting her. You know, it's going to be all right. I'm here. We make our way into the elevator, and we strap ourselves in, and the ride begins. Now, I don't know if you've ever done this ride, but it's based, like I said, on the Twilight Zone, and so you got all the do-do-do-do music going, and the elevator just jostles you up and down, stopping on various floors. The doors swing open, and you got visuals, you got Twilight Zone music and ghosts and stuff, and just stuff to really kind of scare you, and then it shoots you up, and you look out to the park, and then you just drop down again, and like, she's holding on to my arm's going numb. And it's going to be all right. Now, you ever be on a ride like that, and it's only lasts a couple of minutes, but it feels like forever? It's like, is this ride ever going to stop? And I'm like, oh, gosh, poor kid. She was like wide-eyed and skittish for the rest of the time we were at Disneyland. It's like anything that even seemed mildly threatening is like, I'm not going on that. Now, of course, I dragged her onto California Screaming, and she lived up to the name of that ride, but reputation of the name of that ride, but that's another story. Bad dad. Anyways, why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we put ourselves in these kinds of experiences? For the thrill of it. Because the experience, to feel the adrenaline rush, because it's fun. And even if it's not fun, it shows us what we're capable of, that we could survive. And the same goes for your spirit. It gets inside the cart, in this case your biological computer, straps itself in, and then forgets who it is for that time. And then it goes for a ride of a lifetime, literally. Right? And once you strap yourself in, you can't get off until the ride's over. It loves every moment of it, regardless of what happens. It's part of the experience. Now, if you think that the ride that you're on is your life, if you think this biocomputer is you, then you're at the mercy of the experience. You have no power in that. You could be a victim in that space. And you're stuck. And you're going to allow the experience to determine who you are and what your life is about. But if you're willing to open up to the true reality of who you are, that you were a spirit at Amusement Park Earth, and then you can be more choosy of the rides that you decide to go on. Unfortunately, if we're not really conscious, that ride is the merry-go-round. You know people on the merry-go-round, their faces are like... So how do you get off a ride like that? First of all, you recognize that you're on it. Half the battle is recognizing where you are and then accepting that that's where you are. And keep in mind, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with being on that ride. You are a beautiful, blessed being of light, and you are where you are because of the programming in your biocomputer. And that was installed unconsciously by those around you. But not anymore. You're in the captain's seat now. And this is why what you perceive to be your present moment is really just your history coming into play. So, the first step to change is to raise your awareness that you are not your programming, you're not your beliefs, you're not this biocomputer. You have a biocomputer that you can reprogram as you wish. Real question is how, isn't it? I'm currently reading a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. He was featured in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? If you haven't seen that, it's a must-see. It's really great. And this is an awesome book, by the way. And I thank Pammy for giving me this book at Christmas. It's changing my life. He uses a lot of computer analogies, which lights my geek up. And he speaks to how to change your existing programming through guided meditations. Now, it's a phenomenal book so far. I haven't even been through half of the process yet. But this particular way is working well for me, but it's far from the only way. There are many, many ways that you can change your programming. And what works for me may not be the best method for you. So here's where self-trust comes in. If you want change in your life, you need to set an intention. You need to be clear that you want something to change in your life. And then you need to follow your heart. Follow your inner guidance, your inner stirrings. And this is the magical universe. This is the way the magical universe supports you, guiding you to what your next step in the process is. You see, building self-trust is no different than building trust with the magical universe. They're one and the same. The universe freely gives to you, unconditionally, all the love, energy, power, and resources to accomplish anything that you desire in your life. God has given you life so that you can first completely forget who you are and then experience the journey to remembering who you are. It's why you're here. That's the purpose right there. And if you want to design the journey, your key is to trust the magical universe. Trust God within you, that it knows the best and fastest route to all of your desires. The minute you try and dictate how it's supposed to look, however, you're saying, I don't really trust the magical universe. Don't worry, you can't offend God. It means you've simply chosen the Tower of Terror or the merry-go-round, and that's okay. Yeah, good luck with that. But it doesn't matter. The universe, your spirit is enjoying itself tremendously, no matter what you're going through. And it boils down to this. Trusting the magical universe is a choice. And it's a choice made moment by moment, day by day. So if you want to change the way you say you do, then make a list of all the things you don't want. Because oddly enough, us humans seem to find it easier to rattle on about the things that we don't want in our lives than actually defining the things that we do. And then once you make that list, look at what is the opposite of what you wrote on there. Chances are those are more the things that you are desiring in your life. And write them down. There is magic in writing these down. Give yourself permission to believe that these marvelous, wonderful, inspired dreams and goals of yours that are possible for you. Because why? You're engaging in the flow of infinite possibilities. And then follow your heart. Follow your inner guidance. Listen to your heart. And most of all, enjoy the ride. All of it. Speaking of rides, how was the last 25 minutes or so? We took on a lot today. We explored what the magical universe or God is, and that it has no experience or meaning in and of itself without you. We looked at all the magical universe provides you freely and unconditionally in order to have this experience you call your life. And that to God, it doesn't matter which side of the coin that falls on. Also, you've been given free rein to choose and decide at will what you predominantly focus on. And that the magical universe has given you a super cool skookum biocomputer that you can program any which way you want. That's the best gift you could ever ask for. And we also explored how your spirit is at Amusement Park Earth, and when you're conscious and aware, then you have more choices as to which rides you get to go on. And finally, you discovered that building trust with yourself is really building trust with the magical universe, and that it is your choice to do so. And not only that, when you do build that trust and follow your inner guidance, it always works out in your favor.